Drink up, baby, stay up all night with the things you could do. You won't, but you...
Nicholas passed away on the opening night of my senior year fall play, which was Antigone. It was on November 22nd at 7:30. He had called me at 7:23 p.m. Because my mom was away that weekend, and I'm assuming he just was calling to check up on me, and he also called Alex around the same time as well, but Alex got to speak with him. I didn't pick up because the curtain was opening. Afterwards, I got my car with my friend Kelsey Chister. We went to her house. I look at my phone, and I have a bunch of missed calls from my dad and my twin brother, Alex. So I called my dad back. He didn't pick up, so then I called my mom. And I was like, Mom, like, why, what's going on? Like, why is everyone calling me? Like, and she just kept saying, like, very spacey, not responsive. So I assumed something was wrong with my mom. And I called my dad back afterwards, and he was like, Julia, come home. So I left Kelsey's house around like 11:30 at night, and I drove home, and on the way home from Jamestown, I was thinking about, you know, what my life is going to be like once I get home, because I was going to have to revolve it around taking care of my mom, because I assumed something bad had happened to her while she was away. So I get home, and Alex and my dad are standing on our front steps, and Alex grabbed me and he said, Nick died. It just didn't make sense. It's like, no, he didn't. And Alex grabbed me and he hugged me, and my dad was crying and Alex was crying, and we went inside and they told me what happened, and that Nicholas was in the car with Zach Thole and his girlfriend, Rowan. And Nick was in the passenger seat and Rowan was in the back seat, and Zach was driving, and it was Zach's car. And they had been drinking at a bar, and they left, and it was around 7:30, and they were turning a corner, and Zach lost control of his car, and they hit a telephone pole, and Nick was ejected, and then the car rolled on top of him. So it was like around 1 o'clock at night, that night when I went to bed. Obviously I couldn't sleep, so I called Taylor Nonemacher, and she stayed up with me until 3, and she kept asking me what I was going to do tomorrow, what tomorrow was going to be like, because that was the hardest day for me.
That morning, my friends Nick Kazmarski and Kellen Coleman slept over, and we woke up. We went downstairs at breakfast. We're all having a glass of milk, me, my brothers, and my friends, and then when we were done, my brother put his glass in the sink, and he walked out the house and said goodbye. And my mom was upstairs, my dad was out of the house. And I told him goodbye. That was the last time I saw him. So he went over to hang out with his friends, and they brought him to the party. And that night they were drinking till around 3 a.m. and they decided to go to breakfast. A lot of his friends asked him for a ride home, or asked to give him a ride home, and he said no to all of them. Wanted to go to breakfast with Nick Whiteley and Maddie Healy and CJ in the back. So they all got Nick's truck, and they decided to start playing cat and mouse with another car. And everyone thought everyone was sober for at least that amount of time, but Nick Whiteley was drunk. So they were turning around a corner, and at 4 a.m. in the morning, the car kind of hit a rock, and it went airborne and flipped and rolled down the street into a telephone pole. Nick was ejected out of the car. I don't think he was wearing a seatbelt. He instantly was in a coma. My brother was stuck inside the shrapnel. He was kind of being crushed by the car because it was rested against the telephone pole. Maddie was ejected on impact, and she died on impact. CJ and Michael were in the car for 5 minutes. Michael was still alive, but he was internally bleeding, and they were talking, and he was trying to get out because he was squished by the car. But the more he pushed the car over, the more a piece of shrapnel would cut CJ's neck. So he stopped, and right after that, the ambulance got there, and they were using the jaws of life, and by the time they pulled Michael out, 5 minutes later, he died. So I was up at around 3:20. Usually I text my brother. At that time, usually I wake up to let him in the front door. But he never answered. I just asked him if he was home. And then 4 o'clock that morning, he died. I woke up the next morning. I was at my friend Nick's house now with Kellen. And I woke up early because my dad was picking me up early. He came to the house, and I got in the car. I turned, my dad was crying. And I never seen my dad cry that bad. So he turned to me, told me Michael's dead. And honestly, in that moment, I didn't really believe it. And I got home. Everyone was crying. I kind of just walked past everybody and went upstairs into Michael's room. And kind of just thought about what I was going to do next.
So Julia wanted me to tell you guys about the emotional side of Nicholas passing away. And I would really like to, but there are no words to describe how much pain, how much sorrow, how much of an overall tragedy this was to our family. And it's just a constant reminder of memories I'll never be able to share with him again. I don't like being in my house anymore because I feel like I'm in this hellhole. It's just awful. The holidays especially are tough for our family. I would not wish this on my worst enemy. I can't describe to you how much pain and how constant it's always in your mind. It's always there. Just the thought of Nicholas and how you can't talk to your older brother anymore. Nicholas will never be able to experience prom with us, graduation, as we did with him. We were so proud of him when he graduated second in his class at New England Tech. I thought that Nick was on a different path, but Nicholas always was a smart kid, and Nick was pursuing to get his bachelor's in marine technology at New England Tech, and we had all this hope for him, and within 1 minute it was crushed, gone. I wish I could go back, and I think about it every day, trying to go back and tell him to get out of the car. Nicholas, you're gonna die. Can't. Vincent texted me. He told me nothing was going to be okay. It was going to suck. You're going to be depressed. You're going to think about it all the time. And he was right. And at first, when everyone was around me, oh, Alex, you're going to be fine. And everywhere I went, there was my cousin, my best friend. So once people stopped coming to the house, and taking care of me and taking care of my family, doing our laundry, all that great stuff that we appreciated. Like Vincent told me in that text message, it's not easy. It's the hardest thing I'll ever have to do in my life. And I still can't believe it happened to us.
My senior project wasn't to make everyone in the audience right now cry. It wasn't to make you pity us. That's the last thing we want. It was to show you what we've been through and how drinking and driving directly impacted us.
Just make like a pact with your friends that you're not going to drink and then drive, because if you drink and drive, yeah, it sounds like a motto, don't drink and drive, but literally if you drink and drive, you don't have any control over what happens for the rest of the ride. You have some control, but most of it's not there. And if you're sitting there and you see the text of your friends drinking and driving, you might not see them tomorrow.
And think about this video. Think about the pain. Think about the suffering that we've had to go through. And then think about the families. You don't want your friend's family to have to go through any of this.
I think the biggest mistake all three of us made was letting our brothers do things like this. I know that I would get texts from Nick saying, "Is mom home?" And that was his way of saying, "I'm drunk and I need to get in the house. Can you distract her while I sneak upstairs into the shower so she doesn't smell me?" And it was a stupid thing because it was my way of ensuring that if I ever needed him to sneak me into the house,
being the cool sibling.
And I used to, do the same thing, cover for my brother. And then it was all fun, we were kind of like connecting on it.
think about your parents. Think about how proud they are of you. And if you pass away like that, it's all gone. You're going to be remembered as the kid who drank and drove and died in North Kingstown High School class of 2014, 2015. I know some of you, when you heard you had an assembly, thought, oh my god, crap, now I can't do my homework. Some of you are probably doing your homework right now while this video is going on.
Pay attention.
The reason why I asked my brother and Vincent to sit up here and talk to you guys is because you know us. You see us in the halls, you know who we are, you know our last name, you know our families. This is a very personal video, and we hope it affects you in that way.